Hello, hello. It is Monday. Welcome to Fireside Chat with Kimberly. Thank you to Rebel Cheese, the sponsor for this week's talks. Prize packs from this month's contest have been graciously donated by Hodo Foods, Follow Your Heart, Cinnaholic, Revolution Gelato, Terra Seed, and Fabulous. As always, I invite my viewers to enter the monthly contest at virtualvegfest.com and click on the contest tab for details. Entering is super easy just by liking and or subscribing to our social media and Virtual Veg Fest YouTube channel. And by the way, while you're there, also subscribe to the Vegan Stew YouTube channel. And you'll be entered to win one of those amazing prize packs. So hello, welcome. It is Monday. How are we? What is doing? I had a new podcast episode out this morning. So if you've gotten a chance to listen to that, you heard the amazing Susan Francis. And what we talked about for a good portion of it is, hey, Diane, welcome. Thanks for being here. What we talked about for a good portion of that, and is really a good portion of what Susan does, is, and there she is. Hi, Susan. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We talked about living consciously. So I thought, why not talk about that tonight too? I would love to. Hello, thank you for being here with us. I thought that we would talk about kind of living consciously. What does that mean to you? What does that look like in your day? How do you do that? Oh, love right back to you, Susan. How do you do that? Tell me, leave it in the comments and I'll give you an idea. While you type in your thoughts, I will give you a bit about what I think. So for me, living consciously really is being vegan. And because, veganism, as we've talked about on countless shows, is so much more than just what we eat. And it really influences kind of how our entire day goes. And it influences how the decisions we make. Hey, Patricia, welcome. Thanks for being here. So for me, living consciously means that every time I make a decision, I'm not just thinking about what it means for me. I'm making decisions about what it means for those who could be impacted by the decision I make, by the things that I choose to buy, the places I choose to go. To me, that is living consciously. But it's also more than that. And don't forget, I want to hear what you guys have to say. So tell me in the comments what living consciously means to you. It's also about kind of the energy I put into the world and the way I show up from that perspective, from an energetic perspective. That I think is also included in living consciously. So when I choose to show up as a person who is excited and happy and ready to face whatever she's up against next, that's very different than someone who shows up angry, unwilling to listen, closed off. And I feel like that comes into living consciously as well. So what do you think? You're awfully quiet this evening. Does that make sense to you? Do you agree that how our energy, how we show up every day is also part of living consciously? So if you go to Susan's website, which Susan, you can go ahead and put that in the comments. Actually, let me see if I can get it so it goes to everybody. I've got it. So this way it will go to all the different platforms that we are currently on. So here we go. So that is Susan's website. So go ahead. She has, I believe it's 7 paths to optimal wellness. And a lot of that is about conscious living. But Patricia has some thoughts. Yes, I agree. How we show up every day for ourselves, our clients, the people we work with, if we work in more of a traditional setting, or if we are being hired by people, we have clients like Patricia does, and teaching those clients how to do that. Yeah. And we can show up consciously. Like I said, like if we have more of a traditional work setup, we're going into the office, people are going back to the office now. How are we going to show up when we're in person? How do things change? Think about, and I'm just kind of going off of, I'm just whatever's coming to me. So if it seems like I'm going off on a tangent, I totally am. So thank you for that, Patricia. In the last 2 years, many of us, not all of us, many of us have kind of gotten used to interacting more like this, like you and I are, or on a Zoom where we're able to vocally both talk to each other. We've gotten more used to interacting that way. So we show up in a way on video that maybe we show up differently when we're in person. You know, who's to say which is more comfortable, better, or worse? But even that, how we show up on when we're doing calls, when we're in person, how can we be conscious there too, and live mindfully in not just the choices we make, but in the interactions that we have. All right. So Patricia is a psychotherapist and a coach, and she works with her clients to be mindful. And that is key, being mindful. Thank you for that, Patricia, and for the work that you do. Being mindful makes all of the difference. And so, you know, you might be asking, like, what are you even talking about? What does this have to do with veganism? If you ask me, everything. Because I was doom scrolling, I guess, on Facebook not too long ago and saw a post from, I don't know, it was CNN or Glamour or something, and that Zendaya had it was a quote from her that she's vegetarian because she didn't want to see animals be harmed. And we're not, you know, we don't have to go into like why is Zendaya not vegan if that's her plan. We can have another conversation about that. If she doesn't want animals to be hurt, why is she still consuming dairy? That's another conversation. But what I was looking at in the comments is that there were a lot of those comments about her still consuming dairy, but there were so many, well, I just got a very nice comment from someone with a very inappropriate name. So thank you for the compliment on my fireplace. Bye-bye. The comments were about, they were just so hateful towards vegans. And that who are we? Hello, Richard. Thank you for being here. Who are we to tell people they shouldn't eat animals? And who cares as long as the animals aren't killed cruelly? But most of us here are in agreement that you can't kill something kindly that doesn't want to die. You just can't do that to someone. If they don't want to die, no matter what, it's cruel. But it was so like there's this image, I think, that so many people have. And I think it's easy for meat eaters who don't want to be challenged, who don't want to engage, to just throw up the like vegans are stupid, vegans are angry, vegans are judgmental, all of that. And then they're just going to hide behind that because they're just not willing to listen. So that's fine. But then there are some people who genuinely are not comfortable because they're afraid they're going to be judged by vegans. So that's where we can choose to live consciously and we can show up differently. Our energy can be different and we can show people that being vegan, as we've also talked about, so I'm kind of like a broken record sometimes, right, is a beautiful way to live. It is super loving and compassionate and kind, but not everybody sees that. Because every once in a while, they run into the person who only cares that, Zendaya is still eating dairy. And they don't care that she stopped eating animal flesh. We all start somewhere. And we all can keep learning. Like, when you know better, you do better. So we keep learning, but we have to be willing to show up consciously and with a different energy in order to bring more people into the fold. Because the more people that we can get on our side, if you will, then the less animals will be born and bred. We know that the animals that are already here are here. But if we can get people to enjoy more vegan foods, to enjoy more vegan products, then that demand goes down. And then less animals have to be born and bred. So for me, bring it back full circle, all of that is living consciously. What we choose to have on our plates, how we choose to show up in the world, what we are doing day to day, and how we engage just across everything, right? That is what I think living consciously is. There are a few of you, I know you're here, but you're quiet. So I would love, or I'd love to hear from anyone really. What else? What else do you think? Okay. Oh, I missed this one. Living consciously is living by example, my openness to what others are doing without judgment. I love that. Yes. Thank you so much for your comment. I could not agree more. And that's the other thing, being open. Sometimes it's very difficult to hear when people have different views than we do. It's difficult, because we have the views that we have because we feel like those are the views that everyone should have, because that's what makes sense to us. But when we can be open and hear what people have to say, then we can kind of, if not empathize with them, but when we can hear someone clearly because we're open, then we have a better opportunity to have actual dialogue and not have people shut down because we're talking about different things. That's why part of why I don't judge or express grief towards meat eaters. I've had my life of eating animal products. Yeah, that too. Most of us here, right? We were not born vegan. We didn't go vegan when we were little kids. Most of us, it took until we were making decisions on our own. We were having conversations. We were learning. We were open, right? That's what got us to make this decision. Most of us, and those who are lucky enough to be born vegan, amazing. But most of us here are not, we're not that lucky. So we do have to remember that at one point we were consuming animals. We were using animal products and we didn't think anything about it. And then eventually we started to think about it. And then we started to figure out, do I want to change this? How do I make this change? What do I do when people are mean to me about it? How do I approach this? And having that kind of like, I've been there, I get it. Like, that's my thing when people are like, oh yeah, I mean, I could be vegetarian, but I could never give up cheese. And my response is always like, yeah, I used to think the same thing. I would have cheese sometimes 3 times a day. I am not proud of that. I'm just saying that I can relate to those people who go, oh my God, I could never stop having cheese. But if we can meet people where they are and they feel like they're not being judged by us, but that they are with someone who understands, they're more likely to hear us out. Doesn't mean that they're going to change in that moment. Maybe they do. But maybe that conversation is to start planting the seeds. And yeah, if you focus on whole foods, and some people aren't comfortable using the word vegan. Some people will talk about veganism without actually using that word because some people get defensive when they hear about a vegan or about vegan food. But we all have a different approach. And that is why we're able to reach so many different people. If we all did and said the same things, we would only get so far because it wouldn't work for everybody. Think about, my reason and what brought me to stop consuming animals has got to be, there was a different moment in my life than there was in Susan's life or Patricia's life, right? Or in Diane's life. So we came to the same conclusion, but we did it for a different reason. And even if we all said we went vegan because of the animals, we all have a different story even within that. Yeah, Susan, for sure. Awareness is the first step, and then we can take a step with compassion. For sure, because how do you even make that realization? So many of us grow up where we're just, using animals because that's what everyone around us does. So we don't think about what it means. So how could we have that compassion to stop using animals if we're not even aware, one, that it's an option, and two, that it's a negative thing? Because everybody around us seems to think that it's normal and it's okay. 100%. We have to be aware first, and then we can take that next step. Patricia, yeah, I agree. Relating to people, meeting them where they are goes a long way because nobody wants to be lectured. Especially, no one, not kids. They don't want to be lectured. Maybe they want structure. They need to be accountable. Sure. But nobody wants to be lectured. And especially as a grown-up, right? We don't want another grown-up telling us what we are doing wrong in our lives, what we could be doing that would be better. Like, don't tell me. Talk to me. Relate to me. Let's have a conversation. Let's understand each other. So if we can do that, like I said about the cheese, there was a time where I really wanted to be vegan, but I couldn't see it. And I had gone vegan and then started eating cheese again, right after I'd been vegetarian for only a year or two. I'd gone vegan and I had pizza one night, and then I was vegetarian for another 12 years or something. So I totally get that. And we all have these different stories and these ways that we can relate. And even if we can't exactly relate, maybe the person's issue is they just really love cheeseburgers and they don't understand how life will be okay if they stop eating cheeseburgers. I don't have that exact experience, but I understand that feeling of loss that we get when we make a change, because that's what it is. When we think about food is so connected to our families, to our history, to traditions. So when we think about, I'm going to make this change, even though it's good and we're doing it because we believe we want to reduce the suffering and we believe that this is the best choice for us, we know that it's the best choice for us, there is still that feeling of loss because there's a change. So yeah, of course we can veganize, anything these days, and it's good, and there's no loss as far as enjoying the food, but it's different and it's okay. And it's important, I think, to acknowledge those kinds of things so that we aren't making people feel like, I don't know, like you just make this change and then everything is like that there aren't any feelings. Because anytime we make a positive change in our life, there's still something, because it's a change, that's different and that we have feelings around. And going vegan is no different. You're right, Susan. I know I keep going on about cheese, and you are 100% right. If anyone here watching is not vegan now and cheese is holding you back, Susan is correct. There are so many amazing, delicious vegan cheeses out there. And the texture and the flavor and all of the things that you expect from hard cheeses and soft cheeses and mozzarella cheese, and all of that is, they're getting it now. We're there. We have amazing cheese. And to point back to the podcast, if you haven't listened to it yet, Susan also reveals a cheese company that she discovered out of Canada that is amazing and has super fancy cheeses like Camembert, which I have never had, but according to Susan, is amazing. So you'll want to check that out and get that information because there really is there's no option that there's nowhere where there's not a vegan option. Like, we've got it now. And by nowhere, I don't mean like maybe you live in a rural town and you literally have no vegan restaurants. That's not what I mean. I just mean like all of the different aspects of veganism. We've got products that cover those things, from food to beauty products, household products, everything in between. Oh yeah, and they can ship to the US from Canada. So check out the episode and mark down that cheese. Patricia. Cheese was holding me back. Yeah, till I met a dairy cow, learned her story. Yep. I don't have kids, but I don't have human kids. We are ruled by 3 cats. But someone not too long ago was asking about cheese. Her daughter was interested in maybe going vegetarian, maybe going vegan. And she had said to her daughter, it's okay to keep eating cheese though, because they don't kill the cows for the cheese. And so I mentioned to her that cows are like humans and they only produce milk when they are pregnant and when they have a baby to nurse. So in order to have milk for humans to take, she has to be a mother, and then her baby has to be taken from her. Otherwise, the baby will consume the milk because that's who it's for. So that's the dairy industry. And for those of you who are mothers, I'm sure that is relatable as hell. When you think, I'm not a mother, and I can hear that story, and my heart breaks. It absolutely breaks. And like, that's not even like, that's just the high level review of the dairy industry. There's so much more involved in what actually happens to those poor cows and their babies. But that's the gist of it, right? And when you understand that, it's really hard to justify eating that, consuming milk and cheese and ice cream and stuff. And not only that, the vegan versions are so good. They are so good. And like the creaminess, the texture, the flavors, all of it, from the milks to the ice creams to the cheeses. Like I said, we've got it now. It is good. Yeah, that's a great option, and we love Follow Your Heart here for sure. Not just here at in my home, but also Fireside Chat and Virtual Veg Fest live for sure. We love Follow Your Heart. My favorite Follow Your Heart is the Gouda, and I still don't know why I'd never had Gouda cheese made from cow cheese before, but it's my favorite. I love it. Follow Your Heart. They know how to make some cheeses, and it is healthier for sure than cow cheese. And I know, like, it's still processed. I get it, but not only does it not have cholesterol because there's no animal products in it, and cholesterol is not in plants, there's also no cruelty involved in it, and that I think makes it mentally and emotionally healthier too. Trisha, check out Ryan in Southern California. All right, thank you. So everybody make note of that cheese there. I'll leave this up for another second so you can make a note of the cheese that Patricia has noted. I am going to write it down, and I will check that out. Thank you so much, Patricia. Always looking for a good vegan cheese to try. Thanks, Richard. Yeah, it is. What's your favorite? Tell us what your favorite vegan cheese is. Yeah, I hear you, Diane. So good. So good. What's your favorite flavor of Follow Your Heart cheese, Diane? I'd love to hear. And Patricia, tell us what your favorite cheese from Rhine is. Am I saying that right? I hope so. Yeah. Talk about this is what always goes, right? We start talking about the different food items, and the minute we get on cheese, everybody's like, let's talk about the vegan cheese, because it is really I think it was the last thing to be good. I guess the last like substitute. It took longer, I think, to master the vegan cheese than it did to like make a really good veggie burger or fake chicken strips or whatever. All right, so Patricia's favorites: Gouda, tomato, basil, ricotta. Very nice. All the favorite cheeses are coming in. Let's do it. Susan's Follow Your Heart, the feta crumbles. I have not tried those yet. I've actually never had feta cheese, but I have a recipe for a Greek salad that I really want to give a try, and so I'm gonna try out the Follow Your Heart feta crumbles in that. Richard's favorite is the provolone. My guess is that's Follow Your Heart too. Follow Your Heart's a big favorite. Make sure that you enter to win a prize. Follow Your Heart's one of the sponsors always. Smoked Gouda and Parmesan shreds. Yes, the Parmesan shreds. Sprinkle in a little soup, right, Diane? Also on top of a baked ziti or into just on top of some spaghetti. I also enjoy their shake cheese. I guess that's kind of the Parmesan, the flaked Parmesan. I think we call it shake cheese. That might be a regional thing, but that one's pretty good too. And it's not shelf stable like the popular non-vegan brands. You find it in the refrigerated section too. Okay, yep. So Richard's favorite is the provolone by Follow Your Heart. Yeah. All right. So what else you got? Who else is living consciously? I love that we are. Look at this. We're at 27 minutes. Good for us. Follow Your Heart pepper jack. Yeah, that's true. I have not had their pepper jack in a long time. It's one of my husband's favorites. It's really good as grilled cheese. And my little grilled cheese secret, which will not be so much of a secret anymore, is that you put a little bit of mustard into the kind of drizzle it over the cheese before you put the other piece of bread over it. Gotta have some mustard, just a little bit of mustard in your grilled cheese. But I love it. So good. Okay, the Parmesan. Yeah, the Parmesan shreds, right? I know they're a favorite of Diane's as well. Just good stuff. Yep, into your vegan chickenless chicken soup. Oh, so good. I love it, you guys. Thank you so much. I mean, we could do this all night, but people will probably start dropping off. We can talk about vegan cheese all night. How'd you spend your Monday? I spent hours discussing vegan cheese. I want to thank you, as always, for being here and for the engagement tonight. Amazing. Welcome to those of you who are new, whether you're new to commenting or this is the first time that you've watched. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful that all of you are here. And then I get to do this every Monday. I show up here at 7 o'clock and we talk about a thing related to veganism. And it's a good time. Sometimes I cry. Not in the last couple of weeks. So good on me. Oh, Patricia, I'm so glad that you brought this up. I haven't tried it yet. But Mayoko's, her liquid mozzarella is supposed to be what you're looking for. That stretches like the original. I can't say from personal experience that it works that way, but that's what I've heard, that it makes a perfect vegan pizza with the cheese that really stretches and has that full mozzarella experience. So if anyone has had this cheese and you can confirm or deny what I'm saying, please let Patricia know. Let us all know. if that's actually the case. But that is on my list of cheeses to order. I haven't seen it in the store yet. Pardon me, but I do see it on her website. All right, awesome. So if you haven't listened to the podcast yet, please do. You can head over to my website. The podcast posts there every time there's a new episode, but it is also available on all of your favorite podcast apps, wherever you may like to listen. Please do. Susan's is the newest episode. That was the inspiration for this evening's talk. But of course, there are many others there as well. So there's the site. And thank you for bringing this up, because this is something that I think gets missed a lot, especially when we get caught up on like vegan cheese, is that when you go vegan, or even people who start off just by changing how they're eating, they go plant-based, you do wind up eating so many more things, and you try so many other things, different vegetables and whatnot. I know for me, you guys who know my story, I was not a vegetable eater. No. And I decided to go vegetarian because I couldn't participate in the cruelty anymore. But then I was like, oh my God, what the hell do I eat? Because I don't eat any vegetables. So I lived on pasta while I read books about what I was supposed to be eating now that I wasn't consuming animal flesh anymore. And that's exactly what happened. Started to eat more vegetables, and I won't lie, it took a while. I found the ones I knew I liked, things like broccoli and cauliflower, but parsnips, I gotta tell you, squash, those didn't come right away for me. I'm there now, but it took a while for me. So that's the other thing. You don't have to like every vegetable, but you should try many different vegetables, and you will find that you like not just other types of vegetables, but even different cuisines, stuff that I never would have explored when I was still consuming animals. I'm like all in, let's give that a shot. So people think that going vegan is restrictive, but everyone that I've ever had a conversation about this with, it's always the opposite. They always say that things have expanded, not have gotten like smaller. They definitely are out in the world experiencing way more than they were before they went vegan. Well, thank you, Susan. Oh, Patricia, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And welcome to Blind Guy, his wife, and their life. Feel free to put your name in the comments too, your first name, so that I can address you by your first name instead of your YouTube handle. I would love that. Thank you so much for being here, for joining me. Yes, so many kinds of squash. It's so good and so much fun. Delicata squash. That one's my fave. Just throwing that out there. Well, anyway, like I said, we could do this all night, but then we got to come back next Monday and talk about something else. So have an amazing week. The stew is live on Wednesday, so check us out, 7:00. And we had some technical issues last week, so we will be talking about our news sources and are they appropriate and accurate. We're actually going to cover that this week. So tune in to the stew at 7:00, and then come back here next Monday. I'm here every Monday, and we're going to talk about a vegan thing. Like I said, thank you. I'm so honored to do this work. I love you. So thankful to be here. Have an amazing week. Good night.